Hey, welcome to number 10. This is March 3rd. We're going to be having a Da Vinci little lesson when my Da Vinci expert gets here. Um, should have been here 4 minutes ago, but no one's judging. But let's talk about a question we have here in class. Now, I'm going to share my screen. First and foremost, share for sound, say share. Okay, there we go. You shouldn't be seeing my ear anymore, but I'm going to open up this. We're going to look at like a Da Vinci folder. So, not dialogues. Let's look at film noir right here. Okay, and then the red camera footage, like you get, come in these folders. And what's interesting is you'll have multiple files. What red footage allows you to do is it's going to give you a bunch of reference files, and that how like Grant's talked about with the reds, you can import them and change all the um, settings. It's because you're recording multiple different types of files. So you're going to see more. You're just going to import the root, and then you can be able to switch between them. But most notably, your red file is not going to play in your actual editor. So for example, I'm going to open up, here's a DaVinci. Let's just do file, new project. Let's say 43 example. And no clips in the media pool. We can drag to the media pool to get started, right? Well, let me just take this film noir and drag the whole clip in there and see what happens. Oh, yeah, you want to change the frame rate or don't change? That's a decision you need to make. Let's just say change and see what happens. Spinning ball death. All right, look, and it pulls in all the stuff. Now we can see that we can go in here and then recognize that the red is automatically recognized in here. And we are going to be able to go in and mess with the different types of stops. But because I pulled in the folder, it didn't bring in like 8 versions of that one file. It brought in that one file, and now we know that there's references. And we can see that we brought it in, and we can see the different types of audio and video files that we have. Cool. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. Well, does anybody have something to share while we're waiting? Also, I did want to note everyone here in class. I need to end class just a tad early, so 4 p.m. I mean, that's kind of the time the lectures end, but the lab is going to be shut down at 4 p.m. I unfortunately have a funeral to go to, or celebration of life, whatever you want to call it. But we can make up for it on Wednesday if you want to stay and hang out. So, does anyone have anything they want to share?
Hi, Tim. It's Nico.
Hi, Nico.
Sorry, I wasn't able to make it in person today. I had a little bit of car issues, but I do have I do have stuff to share, or at least I have one of the videos to share, the review that I sent to you.
Yeah, where'd you send it? I don't remember.
I believe I put it on to. I just
On
put it
the
on.
on the school dashboard or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's on progress
All
on
right.
projects. Yeah,
All right.
there we
We'll
go.
watch.
Perfect.
Great. Nico, you're going to be the one person we're going to look at. And then Jason, our Da Vinci expert, is here to teach us Da Vinci.
Perfect. And I did
Hi.
do this on DaVinci too. So
Da Vinci 2. Wow, that's an old
yeah.
version.
No,
Um,
sorry. DaVinci Resolve. I did this on DaVinci as well. This was about last year. It's not completed. There's a couple things I need to add, but I am doing a new version of this review, or at least a new review of a different subject.
which module did you put it in? I don't.
It's right there, 5. There we go.
5. Great. Awesome. All right. Santi, Nico. There you go. I called Nico Robin in class on Friday by accident. Those Yeah, I called him Robin when I was, and of course that's because of version of the Roo I was working on. This one right here.
Yeah, this one, that one.
Okay, and
And
it takes me to Reddit.
yeah, it's because I don't have the original video file, but
Oh,
this is
okay.
this is a backup of it.
Okay, cool. Looks like it's 15 minutes, so we're gonna watch a little bit of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not expecting
Um,
to watch the whole thing.
but yeah, One Piece fans. That's why Nico Robin, right? Like that's Straw Hat Crew members. All right.
I gotta catch up with that anime. It's a good show.
It's a great show.
Okay.
All right. Can we hit the lights, please? And let me just remind myself to change this first. We need our audio settings. Where is this? Where is this? Okay. Every single time. There we go. And then back to this. All right, let's go. Okay, I don't want to annotate. No.
Roundabout Halloween, the Sinner Massacre Truth puts a bunch of dumb shit on your screen. You've got the time. I have to be on at 5:40 right now.
During the mid-'80s, and what seemed to be a renaissance for horror pictures at the time, with hits like David Cronenberg's The Fly, Hellraiser, Aliens, Gremlins, and Predator, there was an influx of supernatural terror. Yet, in between those years, in what seemed to be in the most niche of horror fan circles, a movie about love, fast races, weirdos with mohawks, and a killer car controlled by a spirit bent on total fucking vengeance. Yeah, this is The Wraith. Released in 1986 and directed by Mike Marvin, The Wraith is this sort of amalgamation of genres. The film itself is set up as a supernatural revenge flick, then heel turns into an almost teen drama, but then switches to high-octane races. It's fucking crazy, but it's pretty badass. The story begins with a group of underground racers who constantly pick on other random people, trying to take their cars for street racing. One of these gang members, strangely named Skink, does lean during these tenseful moments.
Little warning here, it is gonna get a tiny bit loud.
Looks like one of Matai's friends, probably Fart Knox too. No!
There it is.
It's gonna get what?
That right there. That was
Oh.
loud. I was just warning it was gonna get a little loud.
Okay, I got several questions before we get too far into it. Okay.
Yeah.
So this content, who filmed it?
This is a, how do I explain it? This is basically a recreation of internet reviews from the early 2010s known as Cinemassacre Monster Madness. But
Sure.
we are doing a parody of that by taking the elements that made those videos popular, but add in some in jokes, some other subtext, but mainly retain what made those original videos popular. The main purpose is to bring back that sort of era. And we've been doing this for about like 3 years, and we're on our 4th year this year.
Oh, that's great. I mean, you've never mentioned this to me once.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's been a personal thing, but since we're doing editing, I thought this would be a perfect time to finally show it off.
This is cool. I just was curious who the other people were.
Oh, the other people, it's basically like a month-long thing where 31 different other creators, or maybe like half of that, come together and make one video or two videos where they take not AI prompts, but they take their voice, put an AI filter on it that sounds like the guy who used to make these, and they create unique scripts with that retain the ideas and feelings and themes of those older videos. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to just retain that rather
Well,
than
I'm super interested. I'm gonna obviously watch all of it and give you feedback, but I'm interested. We're gonna go here. Jason's here special today to help out. So thank you, Nico. We'll watch more on Wednesday. Okay.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, absolutely.
Great job. All right. We have here now. I'm gonna stop the share and tell everyone, come up, Jason, come up. Jason Mattingly, editing expert, the DaVinci Resolve master, is going to come here and teach us all. You sit down. I'm going to sit and learn.
Yo, it's Jason.
And I'm going to share the screen. Sorry, I don't have a. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to go to. You know what? Let's turn off Teams. But what we're going to do is we're going to open up DaVinci. And I actually imported stuff already, but
cool.
We talked about that before you got here. But go ahead and tell us who and why we should use DaVinci.
Yeah, so I think it would probably
And we're only going to about 3:40, so you have about
Okay.
an hour and
Okay.
10 minutes.
I started using DaVinci as because it was free. And so I didn't know much about it besides like the color grading tab, as it's the industry standard of changing your look of your overall picture of your short or video or something like that. And so I started using it. And so just slowly with time, I've just fell in love with this program. It's by far one of the best programs that I've ever used. And I learn something every single time I open it up. There's just like small, like user-friendly things that they don't tell you specifically. And so when you find that,
like hotkeys
yeah,
or
not just presets, like being like a instance of being able to auto sync all your stuff in the bin.
How do you do that? Show us auto sync.
I'm not a Mac user, so
Command A selects all.
Command.
You got them all selected right now. Though.
Okay. And then do I have to hit another key to right click?
Yeah, it's command. Click.
Command, okay.
Sorry, I don't have a
If it will. Why is it not doing it? Damn.
all right, let's see. Wait, control click. Sorry.
F it no. So
Try
command
and then control click.
control. Oh, okay, there we go.
Sorry about that.
So where is it? Generate rate. Does not see. I didn't know about that. There's analyzing clips for people. I've never used that tool before. I'm not sure what it does. I'm assuming it analyzes and finds instances of people in there, hoping, but I'm going to cancel that. So it will be, I'm going to say,
What's happening?
I'm trying to get, God dang. FN.
Shift, it's probably if you want to add.
Okay, there it is.
Click that first button and then shift. There you go.
All right. Let's see if it's going to work now. All right. And it was control option, not option. Tim, I don't like Max.
Sorry, bro. It's control click. Just control. You changed the view.
Yeah, I
There
did.
you go.
Yeah. And so auto sync in audio right here. And so you get your time code. And so after that, if it's not going out, good start right now.
It's all right. It's performance issues whenever you're like have to do it in front of people. I get it.
Yeah.
So what should happen there?
So theoretically, if it would work, is that if I could take all these clips, and so it has like the red file right here.
Yep.
And so then in clip attributes, it will link my embedded audio. So it instead of having your files in two different parts right now, like this right here,
That's like Premiere, very Premiere.
it closes them together, and so
it
it just
actually
joins them
Okay.
together. But it's not working right now. Not sure why. I would probably just have to mess with it a little bit more. But this is the editing timeline. So
looks like a timeline.
Yeah.
Like Premiere.
So at the bottom right here is that you got your media tab. So essentially you put all your media, all your videos and audios, images and all that stuff in this tab.
We just drag and dropped a folder into
Mhm.
this, and this was everything that was in the folder.
And so then right here is that
You clicked on the cut.
yes.
Yeah.
So by doing this, you instead of going on your timeline on your editing page, like in Premiere, you could cut everything here. And so anytime that you drag and drop your clips in your editing, it's pre-cut.
So it's basically selecting in and out points for your
Correct.
clip. So
Yeah.
you go through and choose your good takes,
Mhm.
kind of like in the preview window
Mhm.
for Premiere.
Yeah. So all this right here is how what is your workflow. So then you go in your editing, and so you work with all your transitions.
Where would I find all those then my cuts? Where would all that be? It'd just be I drag them all up from the,
Yes.
the window
So,
up there.
yeah. So it'll be right there. And then you got, I don't really use these, but I know they definitely help out and smooth stuff out. But I just, in my workflow currently, I haven't implemented these tools as much. But yeah, this is your blade tool. So you just cut right here and all that stuff.
You got hotkeys on this?
Yes.
This
So you could hit B.
B for
So
blade, that makes
yeah.
sense. It's C for blade on the
yeah, I had to
Premiere.
change it for some time. So
C for cut. That's why.
you could change your preferences if you're used to
The different, yeah.
Yeah, so-
you could do that in Premiere too, is you
Mhm.
can change your
Yeah.
hotkeys to match whatever system.
So you got all your transitions right here. So we could do like a cross dissolve right here and just go through. Well, that's not going to change anything.
Now, you said it's free. Now,
Yes.
here's my big question to you.
Yeah.
How much limitations, there's a free version and a paid
Mhm.
version, right? And
Yeah.
it's like what, $400 for the paid version?
I think it was like 300.
300? Are
yeah.
you showing us anything that wouldn't be available in the,
No, not as right now.
as of right now?
Yeah.
Mostly in the paid version
Yep.
is like special effects.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like one of the biggest tools is like a magic mask is that it uses a neural engine where it learns from your footage and detects like a person's movement or something. And so it analyzes it frame by frame. And that would be in the paid version. And
Nico, you
yeah.
trying to say something? Maybe not.
No. So I'm just going to go an overview, might be kind of fast.
no,
So
go for it. Look, I'll ask questions as I'm confused, and feel free anyone to
Yeah,
ask
no,
any
definitely.
questions.
yeah. And so in the next of your workflow is that you typically go from your master timeline into your visual effects. And so this is what like essentially what After Effects is. So it's in a different workflow compared to After Effects is more of a tab-based system where you have your layers of essentially like in your timeline where you just have them layered like this and you just turn on and off.
So basically, just to talk about the edit system, go back to edit,
Okay.
please.
Yeah.
So then in edit, we would just make our edits like Premiere or
Mhm.
just put assembly edit.
Yeah.
And then from there we go on, like, will we do all our, does the audio editing happen here too? Like
You
would I layer
can-
sound effects, or is that a different tab later on?
So you can do a little bit of mastering in here. So you got your audio tab right here. And so you got your panning controls of your left and right channels if you're working in stereo. Also in the paid version is voice isolation.
This is a paid version.
And yeah, so essentially detects a person's voice and then cleans up all the background sounds of like the buzzing and all that. And so you got your dialogue leveler, music remixer. That's a new feature that they just added. So essentially, let's look at it. So you could take out a person's vocals of drum, like if a song's going on, you could take that out to drums, to the bass.
You can like remix the whole vibe.
Exactly.
That's pretty
It's
dope.
yeah. And so that's, I believe that's in the paid version. You got your pitch and all that stuff.
They
here.
they just added this too.
Yes, the music remixer.
Okay, I'm gonna
Oh,
have to update my DaVinci for that because that's really cool.
yeah,
So
it was in
19,
19. Yeah, it was in
okay.
19 when they added it.
Yeah, I'll
Um,
get on that.
and so then you got your equalizer here, so your EQ.
That helps clean up your
Mhm.
audio.
So if you wanted to add more bass to a person's
Yeah.
voice or all that stuff. So you could also access all those features right here too, by adding these additional effects of like your echo right here. And so you could modify everything.
Why does it say Farlight?
Fairlight. Yeah. So this is the Fairlight tab. And so DaVinci has been acquiring businesses over the last probably about like 8 years now. And so they purchased Fusion. And then Fusion's been since like the early 2000s been around. And it helped out with other visual effects in movies and stuff like really high level feature films. But and then Fairlight, I think they acquired them in like 2017 or something. And so that's some of these features from the Fairlight tab that they put into over here.
Fairlight's a system specifically
Yep.
for audio.
Yeah, so it's a DAW, so it's a digital audio workspace. That's the acronym. And so we could jump over here.
No, we don't have to. I'm just asking.
Okay.
Go in your workflow,
Okay.
but
and so we got all this stuff right here. It's accessible. You could add plugins that from like audio racks that you purchase for like $300. You could put that into DaVinci. And so I could see that I got some of your effects right here, Tim.
so I have preloaded onto my system.
Yeah. And so then we got additional effects that we could put on. So this goes more into the color grading tab that we'll go into a little bit later on.
These are all comparable to the video effects we learned about in class, right? There are probably some named changes,
Yeah.
but for the most part, it's like I always say, there's apples and oranges.
Yeah, no,
It's like
definitely.
using a PC or a Mac.
Yeah. So if you wanted to make it abstract for some reason, see if it loads.
Drop it up there, and then effect control
Yeah.
is basically right
Yeah,
there.
so it's applied now. And so let's put it a little bit stronger.
Traction.
Yeah. See. So
it's like find edges. It's like a sharpening.
yeah,
Oh,
so
that's horrible.
so we got that. You could put scan lines in here. So again, this goes into more of the visual effects that you could do in like the Fusion tab. And so jump over here. And so this is node based. And so this is the industry standard workflow that is another software called Nuke, which uses node based. And so that's like a $4,000 program per year, which is insane. And so again, we have some of these effects in here that we were seeing earlier. So this is where you could do your green screen and all this other stuff in here. So you got your color corrector.
Show us something. Yeah, color correct this image.
So there's color corrector, color. There it is. Okay. So we could just move it around. And so maybe I want this more to be a yellow, just a slight tinge of yellow. And we could boost the saturation a little bit, add a little bit of contrast. Oh, there we go. You could boost it just a little bit. But yeah, no, there's so many things. Like I wish I had.
Okay, talk to us about the notes that are down there. So we see where it says what medium one or whatever.
Oh, media out. Oh yeah.
Media out.
So
now the color correctors pop up there.
Yeah.
What are those like arrow things? Like
so this is your so this is a reference right here. So if I had let's go media pool right here. And so do we have a picture or something like that? I'll just use this. Okay. So let's do this right here. Do this merge tool. So I think that this is probably a better demonstration right here. So the merge is that this is your background. So if you're imagining that your layers is that this the yellow is behind and you're just layering your green on top of that. So the foreground is green. And so let's just put that right here. And so now we have the layers installed. And so now I want to make this bigger. So I'll add a transform tool and I'll just size this up a little bit more. So now we got ceiling fan.
So instead of like in Premiere where our effect controls, we saw when I was adding all the effects to the clip, they were layering on and I was turning them on and off. Instead, we're working with this what do you call this?
A node-based system.
Node-based system. So all the nodes need to go in there. So like, for example, if we wanted to transform that clip, but then we wanted to apply another effect to media 2,
yeah,
we would throw another node on there, right?
Yep. So
and then how do you tell what's dominant? Is it the arrow workflow?
So yeah, is that this is the main pipeline right here. Yeah. And so it's just a matter of the layers that you're putting on it.
Okay.
And so I just put a mask on this clip right here. So blue means mask. And so I could, again, this is,
you made it a circle.
Yeah. So I could just modify this, move it around and all that stuff. And so what else could I talk about?
Could you throw a note, see where it says media 2
yeah,
and transform 1? Could you put something in between there?
Yep. So let's put a blur. So again, I'm just dragging and dropping these tools right here. These are your more a hotkey tool instead of if you hit like control space where it gets your additional features right here, and that's a hotkey too. And so you could also put these tools into your pipeline. So I put the blur tool, and so I'm just going to blur this effect initially. And so I could also go on to keyframes. So this is a keyframe right here. Have you gone over keyframes?
We've talked about keyframes. We know how to make keyframes. We should, no shame if you want to ask what keyframes are again, specifically in DaVinci, but we all should feel confident in keyframes now. Remember this?
Just a little reminder.
Sure, go ahead.
So keyframes is essentially animating your image. So right now I put a blur, the keyframe right here. And so at 671 frame, it will be fully, it won't be blurred. The effect won't be applied anymore. And compared to over here, when we first started, it was almost 100%, almost 70% blurred. And so
if you hit play, you're going to see the blur effect slowly gets unblurred, right?
It's a little dragging on right now
with your keyframe. If you drag your keyframe closer, it's going to be faster, right?
Yep.
Remember, our keyframe, it's all time-based. So looks like for 600.
So it's almost like a checkpoint.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, pretty much that's what keyframing is. So also with Fusion is that it has a 3D compositing part of it, is that you could turn your image, you could bring in 3D objects as if you downloaded let's say like Mario or something like that from a website, and you drop that in here, you could animate it. It is I've done it a couple of times. It's not the best software. Again, in tools, there's better tools for other situations. And so Fusion, it's good, but it probably is not the greatest compared to other programs like Blender. But if you're in a pinch, you could use 3D modeling. Like in what's it called? The 72-hour short for Jules. I did the credits in Fusion with the 3D software. The 3D parts of it is that I took like a plane, an image planer, and then took multiple pictures of a cookbook and just, oh, well, I have to make it into a 3D node graph. So it's going to take a little bit.
But
Yeah.
So what Jason's basically saying is he took several images
From a
and then
cookbook.
joined them together and then animated it to make really cool credits.
Yeah, it's again, it's a whole other field. It takes a while to explain it. But it's cool. Like it's again, you could do quite a bit in Fusion.
Sure.
And so like
And just to remind everyone, this is just an introduction.
Yes, like
he's not going to get too detailed, but he's just going to showcase what can and can't be done within DaVinci.
Yeah. So moving on to the color grading tab. This one.
So basically, just a reminder, we've imported our stuff. We've cut our clips appropriately. We put them into a timeline and made our edits. Then we went through and we color corrected or we used special effects on that edit. Now we're in the actual color correction.
Yes.
So you pre-color correct in Fusion?
Typically you don't.
Okay.
So you typically do that with the VFX. So like
Okay.
I'll disable this right here. So by doing that and going in here, I made an issue.
Yeah.
There's something happened. So I made this mistake hundreds of times and it's frustrated me. So if you have to just pull the pipeline together, if it will work. So you have to just pull that across. So if it's disabled, that's an issue.
If you see nothing in black, then you know.
So the Fusion does apply to the color grading tab. So like I already did color correcting here.
Yeah.
I don't want that to be right there. So I'm just going to delete that. And so we went back. So this is the industry standard color grading platform. And so there's hundreds of ways to be able to navigate this thing. And so this tool has tools for other tools on top of tools, which sounds weird, but when you start having to get really precise on your color grading to get a certain aesthetic or style, it starts making a little bit more sense. So like these color wheels right here are just your overall color grading. So my gain is more of like the highlights right here. So again, this is applying to the overall image. And so I barely just pivoted this wheel and it's starting to change the overall look. And so go down to gamma, that's more of your midtones. So more of, again, like breaking down the word, it's the in-between from your bright spots to your shadows.
Yep.
And so your lift is your shadows. So let's modify like to more of a blue look. And so it's changed, again, your overall look of it. So right here of David Carlin's skin tone, it's changed more to a blue, even though I just changed the shadows a little bit. I'm going to disable all that. So the HDR wheels gives you a little bit more correcting and more control of your overall image, as such as your exposure to your saturations on those spots. So it goes your light, your shadows, and your darks. Back over on the primary wheels, we got your log wheels, which says highlights, midtones, and shadows. And so this is more controlled of your parts. So like, I think it would probably be a little bit better to show on the shadows again. So it's not as applying as much compared to the primaries, the first wheels that we're showing, these color wheels. And so let's just work with it a little bit. So let's brighten up the highlights a little bit. And so this one, you could do a little bit more drastic changes compared to your overall wheels, these wheels right here. So let's lower these shadows a little bit. But
there's a lot of
it's I'm still learning it. It's pretty nuts of how much that this could get into.
If you wanted just to be a color correctionist, that's a job, and you would be very valuable if that is your thing. It's super interesting. Now, do me a favor, Jason. Go back to your edit and put a couple different shots on the timeline.
Okay.
I want to see how you like color match
or. So color matches, like, are you trying to?
I want my images to be similar.
You want to the overall look?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go playback and lower this resolution. Okay. All right. So we got the clips together. So I'm going to just delete these ones so not make it as confusing. Let's go back to color.
So we have those 3 different clips.
Yep, there are 3 different clips now.
And you're changing the color for each individual clip? Or can you apply it for everything?
I could apply it for everything. So again, this program gets very intensive as just, it could get really confusing. Is that I just learned this and started using this just a couple months ago, is that we got this clip level specifically. So anything that I modify on this individual file itself will be only isolated to this.
Sure.
So let's go over here and just completely obliterate it. Okay, so it's isolated. But if I wanted to have a certain look to this maybe film or this specific scene, so I'm going to apply it to the timeline. So there we go. All right. So I'm going to color correct right here. So again, this is a node-based system. So it could get really big of your graphs if you really wanted to. So it's only applying to this. So I'm just going to disable, go back to the clip and disable that. So I'm going to go back to the timeline. And so then now I'm going to move it across and turn it blue.
Now
Okay.
go to a different part of the timeline.
And so it's
So we can
applied
see
to the
applied
overall
to
timeline now.
everything instead of just one thing.
Yeah.
Great.
So if you wanted to do this,
If everything was shot the same, you could do that, right?
Yeah.
The
it's
problem
same
is-
camera
yeah, same camera,
and
same
yeah.
everything.
And so I'm going to go back here. And so also you could group your,
But that would be good, like say I color correct everything and then I want to make it all black and white,
Mhm.
right? Like I could do it. that
yeah.
way.
So let's do that. So I can remember how to use a Mac.
Now I have a big question.
Yes. So I'm going to desaturate.
Does DaVinci crash?
DaVinci does crash.
Oh,
Not as much as I've experienced from other programs. I'm not throwing shade.
It's fine. You can
In
throw all
my
your shit in.
experience, it does slow down a little bit at times.
Yeah, it really depends on system. Like I working on DaVinci just today, I had it crash. But that was on the Fusion tab, and I have
Sure.
like
If
80
you're stressing
effects.
your computer out, you
Yeah.
can crash it. But I'm just saying, there's a certain teacher who claims that a certain software has never crashed.
No, no.
And I will tell you, I crashed that software. I've crashed Final Cut X. There's a certain professor who will tell you that
Never
they've never
crashes.
crashed it once, and I don't believe that because I have crashed it. I crash all systems. It might just be me. But tell me about your autosave feature here.
So you could set it to just be every 5 minutes, every minute, every change that you do to the software, it will autosave.
Okay.
I believe that is on by default. I don't want to go through the settings, but
Okay.
I believe that is on by default.
Yeah. So yeah, of course, you want to lose as little work
Oh,
as
yeah.
possible. But I'm going to stress my computer out as much as possible.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Earlier today, I had 2 different editing softwares open,
Uh-huh.
like Teams and PowerPoint, and it was struggling like using Gmail. So I was like, time to restart
Yeah.
and then free up my RAM. And I have a pretty decent MacBook, right?
Yeah. So what I'm doing right now is that what Tim was saying, that he maybe wants to make this a black and white film. So I desaturated the overall image, and then I went to the color curves tab right here, and so I ended up putting an S curve. So I'm bringing up my highlights, just like the wheels, and bringing up a little bit more. As you could see this right here, above the shoulder, or even in the window, you could see it change. And so additional tool is that we got these scopes right here. So this is the parade scope, where you could see which colors are displaying right here. And so we could see that there's a certain part of the image that is clipping, and that is this window right here. So let's blow this out. And so now it's completely, we lost information right here. So bring that back down. And so I brought up the end tab right here. So this is more of your shadows. And so you could crunch these shadows down. And so as you could see, it's a little bit more black right here. Or I could lift them a little bit to add more of a film fade to your image, to maybe get that certain aesthetic when it was filmed on film stock compared to like a digital camera. And so you could add like a halation. So again, that is a aspect to a film stock where your bright points are essentially splitting, and it's creating a red tone to it. It's very common to like film stocks, even older film stocks, is that they weren't as refined of the chemical process. It's not going to show up as much to, you probably could see it in this window a little bit. Let's disable that. Yeah, you could see right here.
I think we're getting.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit.
See a little bit. I'm just saying our projector that we're looking up.
Oh,
on the
really?
screen, you can see it around the edges for sure, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, look at the numbers.
But that's something that DaVinci has, to give a authentic look that might fit your project. Again, this is
Jeremiah.
stylizing. Yes.
So, you showed us how to do a whole time like color grade, but let's say I just want to do half the video or like 3 clips.
Mhm. So one of the things that I do is that I'm going to just disable this. Okay. So like Premiere Pro, I know you're using like the
That's-
adjustments. the
Yeah.
adjustments just above that.
Sure.
You could do that in here too. So let's go down to adjustments right here. And so you could just layer on top. It's not layered on top. All right, let's layer on top right there. And so anything that is above will be modified. So you have to, so let's change it again. So let's like overblow it. Or actually, let's go back, saturate it, desaturate it. Okay, so now it's applied to this only spot right here. So
Oh.
back.
No, but I think Jeremiah's asking, what about like half the video? If
Mhm.
you only wanted to do, so you're making an adjustment layer basically?
Yeah, so this is one of the alternatives. This is quick. This is what I do sometimes if I'm just looking for like a test.
How did you pull that information from the adjustment layer though? Like, you can't do it in the color phase?
Yes, you can. So are you talking about as the individual clip level or as like?
I want to, let's go to here, let's go to the color,
Mhm.
get rid of the adjustment
Okay.
layer. Let's go to the color phase.
Yeah.
Those first two clips
Yes.
apply to
Okay.
both of those,
Yeah. So let me just
but not the third one.
copy them.
Okay.
And so let's just do node and corrector and pipe that in there. And so let's go gain. So now,
So you're applying it just to that one. But how do you apply it to the other one?
and so you could hit apply grade. So I just right clicked it. That's all I did. And then apply grade. So now those two clips have the same look right here.
So realistically, Jeremiah, you would select, you could then, could you mass apply grade? So if I
You can.
copied it, you
Yeah.
can?
So
So select all three,
Yeah.
Jason. and
so
say
let
apply.
me disable
Yeah, please.
this and then go right here. And so I'm just going to hit shift and then click both of those. And then I'm going to control right click and then hit apply grade. And so now all three of these clips have that same grade.
Makes sense, Jeremiah? That answer your question?
Yeah. So this is another alternative that you could do. This could be if you're going to more massive projects of like a feature film of all these different cuts, it might slow your workflow down a little bit more. I just started doing this for my own shorts and other color grading projects. Is that you could group these clips together. So if you have a certain aesthetic for a certain scene that you're looking for, so like a Breaking Bad Mexico or something, it's very a yellow tint.
Yeah.
They have that certain grade for that specific look of that certain scene. Right, Grant?
Hey, Grant.
And so instead of having to just right click and just copy and paste it across the whole thing,
Thank
you
you.
could
Oh, you didn't have to do that. Oh, thank you. Wow, thank you. Oh, happy birthday.
thank you.
Oh, geez. Thank you, Grant.
So whatever you don't take, bring to the kids.
Okay, I will.
Thank you. All right.
Yeah, he's.
It's
he
better
does-
than Final Cut.
Hey, Grant, Final Cut, does it ever crash?
I have never had it crash in all the years that I've used it.
Okay, we were just talking about crashing. We asked if DaVinci crashes, and it does.
Does it?
Yeah, it does
Yeah, like
crash.
normal editing software.
Yeah.
I have the very fastest laptop.
Oh,
I
he's
Yeah.
got good specs.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
64.
I've crashed Final Cut. Grant's got the good stuff, so don't even worry.
Yeah, but I've never, not one time that have I had Final Cut crash. I used to edit on Premiere
Mhm.
and it crashed every single time I used it. And I had a souped up computer then. But I know it's
Premiere
gotten-
will crash. Yes.
What?
Premiere does crash. Yes.
Yeah, no, like I have DaVinci crash with I have 128 gigabytes of RAM and like 12 cores and a
Hey,
decent GPU.
Once he's done
Yeah.
with the lecture, everyone, come and see Jason's phone. He has a note structure
Oh,
he
yeah.
showed me
No, it's
last week, and you'll see why stuff.
It's
crashes.
crashing. Yeah. No, I'm doing about like 80 effects on the Fusion page, and they're just all leaking through, and it's just crashing.
Is this your noir?
Yeah, that was the genre project we're using as an example with David Carlin. Santi's working on the project right here, Grant.
Well, not right now.
But was it? It's been working for you?
Yeah, I was able to figure it out. It was like slow and laggy, but it's because of my DaVinci settings.
Yeah, you need to change it to a lower resolution so you can see it,
My
right?
computer's like halfway dead, so.
Sure.
Yeah.
When I go home, I'm gonna charge it up. Now that I know what settings to use, it does run smooth.
Yeah. Like, do you use like the caching
Yeah.
setting? Yeah. I that helps out so much too. And then using proxies.
I'll have that gap thing done by tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So then that'll go first.
Whichever one, whoever finishes first.
So going back to like what you could do with
Thank you, Grant. Thank you so much. This is really nice. Thank you.
So again, going back to like the different scenes that you're looking for. So you could bulk your specific scene together by just doing groups. So let's say a bedroom. I'm sorry.
What did you press with that tab open?
So I just hit the right click again and just right click on the window. So let's go here. Right there. And so it's just right clicked. There you go. All right. And so right clicked and then just click to the clips together. And so it go up here and it says add into a new group. And so I already have these two clips together. And so now after the change, it's into our group pre-clip. So if you're imagining different layers together, is that you got your, because they're in a group, it's the top layer. So anything that I modify right here is that if I want to make, let's try to figure out something drastic. So desaturation, let's go over here a little bit more.
Blow everything out.
Okay, so these are desaturated. And so this going into the clip specific layer now. So just like what we're doing over here, this is at clip level, but going right here and let's do a power window. So DaVinci has power windows, which is you could essentially track your like a face, this power window. Let's go. I'm just trying to. There we go. All right. So now I have this essentially a mask. And so let's track the slate right here. So anything in this effect, let's blow this out. And so let's just crank it up. So
there's more cupcakes, by the way, if anybody wants them.
And then let's just track it and go through. So it's gonna just follow it throughout the footage. And so after, if everything goes right, it won't be applied to the face. It's only just the slate itself. So as you could see, it moves away.
3D as well.
Yeah.
So then what are you applying to the, oh, you're just blowing that out?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
you can go in and fix frame by frame though too?
yes, you could go frame by
It's not
frame.
gonna be 100%
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah. I see this stuff being used all the time now, just watching commercials, movies and all that stuff. You could see the slightest adjustment in like the contrast of the image.
This is a powerful tool. This is an
super
awesome thing.
powerful.
It's in Premiere has basics, but it's more After Effects-y thing. So this is something I really like about DaVinci is the ability to access something like this. You can like use it for tracking and add a font, so the font flies around and follows a face or
Yeah.
whatever. I'm sure you see that. That it's way popular now. Something pops up and the fonts would work.
So you should just merge the softwares kind of like this.
Well, that's what DaVinci is absorbing all of it. Whereas Adobe is like, hey, our stuff. Well, you can actually bring in After Effects projects into your Premiere projects. I personally never do that because guess what?
It crashes.
You really want to crash your computer, freaking bring in the use a recursive project and bring in. You saw when I did. I remember I played with Audio Audition at one point, which is you could do that with After Effects and make live changes in After Effects, which then reflect on your Premiere. But in my opinion, I see way more crashes that way. Like the second I bring that After Effects into my Premiere project, the render also becomes so unruly that I would rather work in Premiere I would rather work in After Effects separately and then bring everything in after.
So are you compressing, like rendering out your files? That's
yes.
what you're doing.
That's what I do.
That's the same way with Fusion is that I like with like behind the scenes is that because it's super
behind the scenes is the name of a project.
Yeah. It's super intensive, all the VFX that's going on. And so I have 80 effects on one specific clip and I put that into my overall timeline and it's non-destructive, meaning that everything, it's uncompressed, absolutely uncompressed. So I put that in the timeline, it will just crash the software because it's how many gigabytes that it's needing to pull.
Too much to interpret.
Yeah.
So you have to compress. So that's
to.
like what I really recommend.
Yeah.
You can do that too with Premiere. And in fact, on Wednesday, we'll do that. I'll open up After Effects and we'll crash Premiere in class, okay? And I'll show you why it's better to compress certain things. And it's good and bad. I mean, you definitely can do little things, but like I work in some really graphic intensive projects like music videos or you know, corporate promotional stuff. So it's like garlics flying around or whatever. So we'll take a look at that.
Yeah.
Now, Jason, awesome for notes. You got about 20 more minutes to show us what you're going to show us, and then we'll do some questions and answers. Okay. But feel free to keep throwing.
Is there any other questions or anything like that? Or
you keep showing us stuff. We want to see stuff that we can do in here.
So this is the Magic Mask tool. This is super helpful.
Why would I use a Magic Mask?
This is so if you want to apply it to a specific person or something, you don't want it, you're going to cut out the person and out of the footage, and then you're just going to apply those effects, or you don't want the effects to apply to different people. So I'm going to disable this and open up a new one. So I'm going to Magic Mask David right here. And so you have your two different settings where your quality to faster to better. And that is, it's going to be more system intensive if you go on the better settings. Yeah, exactly. And so let's just go through here. And so let's just track it. It might take a little bit. It's going to go. Okay, there we go.
Here's my question though.
Yes.
You drew the line just to show the reference. If you spend more time drawing the lines, is it going to know better or is it going to get more confused?
So it's going to know better. So if you have more motion, and so it might get confused on certain frames where it interprets that this is a person right here, but it's like the chair because it's the same skin tone or something.
Yeah, like what if he turns around?
Yeah, exactly. And so maybe I want to do it by frame by just cutting, just essentially drawing and just going through frame and just cutting that part. And so again, you have to go through your adding tool and then your subtracting tool to just be able to cut that. And that those tools are right here. Let's just cut it right now. So it's going to have enough footage. So anything that I do now will be only applied to this David right here. So let me show you as right here. So that's what it detected. So that's everything that I wanted to work with. So I don't, as far as right now, I don't want to make any changes. So I'm going to do my mask, the blue window, and put that in here. So now it's going to be affected, this node right here. And so let me turn off that and go back over here. And so I want to change them purple. So now going through up till everything that I keyframed, David's going to be looking like that. So it's going to
Pretty dope, right? Pretty simple. He didn't do much to it, but
honestly, yeah, this is one of the things of like doing visual effects.
but look,
And
like we can see that it's not perfect.
no,
because
no,
I look
absolutely
and
not.
Instantly put on the shirt. It's like, no,
Yeah.
that's not him.
Well, it's I didn't let it
okay.
generate all the way through, but yeah, no, it will have some issues. So let's go back to it and just let it
But
generate a
you're
little bit
being
more.
dramatic there, but this would be cool for just a color change or a
Oh,
tone
yeah.
shift.
Yeah. Yeah. See, it's there was some parts where it didn't get his arm as much.
Yeah, or his hands were
Mm-hmm.
disappearing too.
Yeah. So you could see that. Yeah, it keeps going
But you
in and
need to
out.
go through and for sure like
Yeah.
clean that up. It's,
Oh yeah.
I mean, this does a lot of like rotoscoping. You know, this would just be a person sitting in a room for hours
Oh
on
my-
end
that-
doing this,
mm.
right? So
It's still not perfect. Like you still have to rotoscope stuff.
yeah, but it's the difference between 100 hours versus
Yeah.
20 hours.
Yeah,
maybe.
exactly.
Don't expect it to be magically
No.
done.
But with time, it will be better. And so
Computers are going to get better. And
yeah,
better and
like I just using this tool over the last 2 years, I've noticed it get a little bit better just by the updates. And so it's just analyzing footage because it's using machine learning to do that. And so let's figure out what else to show. So let's put a glow effect on here. So I'm just gonna disable this right here. So hotkey, Control S. That's how I've been getting the control this color corrector node displayed. So let's put a glow. And so anything on this threshold on this window right here will be displaying. And so I could just change it, blowing out a little bit more, lowering it, put it right here and just do the spread.
Oh, that's interesting.
So if you're trying to do a certain look, again, you're stylizing, if you're trying to give like a more of a vintage look, if you're doing visual effects, and this helps out so much to be able to integrate your foot. Yeah.
Like it's
Mm-hmm.
because what we're doing when we're compositing or layering is we're trying to make the effect look like it belongs in there. So adding that glow has like, hey, here's this light, we're making it spill a little bit, and we can give things shadows, we can give things weight. We're about making it feel like it belongs, just not like because ultimately what we're doing is we're putting one image on top of the other, but through layering, we can make it look like it belongs there. Jason, you got about 10 minutes. You want to show us the other 2 tabs of your workflow? Or?
All right. And so this is the Fusion tab, Fairlight tab. And so this has, if you're familiar with like Pro Tools or like Reaper, this is what
Audition.
That's another one. And so you could be able to just do your dynamics. You could put your effects in this, the channels. You could make buses, so you could group these channels together and put it in here as like if you want gunshots or explosions to dialogue, and you could just bus like audio 1 and audio 2, and you could put into dialogue EQ. And so like if I wanted to make cleaner, make David's voice a little bit cleaner, I would do that right here. And so there's so many different things that you could do this in this tool, and I'm still learning it. And then you got like voice isolation right here. So again, what we saw with the editing tab on the effects, you could do the voice isolation, dialogue leveler. Also, if you have this does have Dolby Atmos. So if you had if you're mixing this for movie theaters, you could go into a 3D space essentially, and so you could mix your footage like this, and as you're panning. And so, like, I've been using it for 5.1 surround sound, and so then I could have like a gunshot fly across the room, and that's again like a special feature that I don't think a whole lot of people would really see, but just to be able to mess around with those tools is really cool. Dolby Atmos is like 912, or I don't know. It's huge, of the amount of range, of the amount of speakers that you could play around with, and you could mix it for that. Trying to think of something else. You got your reverb right here, and so if you just want to add reverb, this is super helpful. And so it has the length of the room that you can move around. Choir effect, de-esser, and then we got our delivery tab, and so you could just name your file. Essentially, it's just what's called the Adobe encoder, to render out your footage. Is Adobe encoder. Media encoder. Yeah. So essentially this. And so you could go through all the different files that you want. So if you wanted to make this out of GIF, for whatever reason, you could do that. And so we got more the codecs, and then we got our resolution, frame rate, and then pixel ratio, data burn-in, flat pass. And then if you wanted to, you could just automatically upload to YouTube, TikTok, and Dropbox. What was it? Where was it? I thought you could upload to vidIQ if you ever needed to, just as like test footage for like a producer or something. But yeah, no, that's basically an overview of DaVinci. It's crazy amount of stuff that you could do in this, and a lot of videos. I've had to watch a lot of videos to just really understand this program, and it's super advanced, but it's super, once you start understanding it more and more of why the tools are set up like that, it makes a little bit more sense of why it's so advanced. And I've worked with programs where it's just bad, is like it's advanced, but it's just not user friendly. I have not had an issue with this. You just have to explore this program. And there's a lot of information out there already. And there's always more information growing of certain problems that you could be having. There's because this is Black Magic who owns this program. There's Blackmagic forums, Reddit. There's a lot of Reddit forums about this. YouTube, a lot of YouTube videos about that, going from fusion to color grading to the overall timeline and Fairlight. But yeah, no, this is I really like this program. After like a month of using this, I was like, I need to get the studio version because of it's just super put together. But the studio version, for most people, I don't think they need it. Like the studio version is for like the magic mask to the voice isolation. So it's more of their AI machine learning tools that more are behind a paywall. But if you're doing freelance stuff, I don't, most cases, I don't think you need a studio version.
Yeah,
but-
so that is, I mean, ultimately, I think the best bet is if you're considering DaVinci, but it's free. I mean,
Yeah, just
you
try it
should
out.
consider DaVinci. I'm the Premiere guy, but I'm not such a Premiere guy. Let me just say this. I'm like that guy in, oh gosh, I'm referencing Rise of the Skywalker. But,
oh no.
I'm like General Hux.
Oh, jeez.
I don't care which one you use. I just don't want you to use Final Cut X, right? General Hux says, I don't care. I want him to lose, right? Like,
and if you buy any Blackmagic products, such as a camera to like the speed editor, that's like $350. Like the cameras in general, you get the DaVinci Studio version.
yeah, DaVinci,
Yeah.
that's how I have DaVinci.
Yeah.
My camera, I work with Blackmagic cameras and I have 2 licenses for free. So, which came with it, which is great. All right. I use it, for coloring or whatever,
Yeah.
but every time I play with DaVinci, I can see myself moving away from Premiere.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, there's cool stuff in it and it's all integrated, but I have 10,000 hours in Premiere. and
Yeah.
it'd be kind of a,
Yeah.
Tim, what would you say is the worst free
sure.
editing software?
No, I don't. No, I'm trying to show
You're
this.
trying to hide that.
Yeah, I'm trying to
you
move this.
Well, they aren't seeing it.
Yeah.
But us here are. Well, Nico, ask your question again.
What would you consider the worst free editing software? Because I do consider this the best free editing software for
Well,
me.
yeah, I think this is the best free editing software. I mean, what's the worst? I mean,
I used Premiere Rush for a while because it's free.
yeah, that's better. I
Yeah.
hate
Oh, Avid.
Avid
like,
is Avid's fine. I honestly think iMovie's horrible.
It's super basic. That's
Yeah. But it's
Yeah.
like it's so limited in what you
Mhm.
can do that it's also one of these things for me. I've been working as a professional editor for so long that when I get into these free softwares, it drives me insane. Like it's so like unintuitive to go backwards
Yeah.
is the problem. So I mean, ultimately, I don't like whatever you want to edit in, that's fine. I'm just saying everything has its limitations and the free versions some of them have big like disadvantages.
Yeah.
I think DaVinci, being that it's free, it's also like way more advanced than like say something like if you use I don't even know what the cam recorders or free cam or
yeah.
Windows Movie Maker, that they're all free software. Go
Yeah.
for it, play with it.
Yeah.
And then you'll reach a point where it's like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Well, hey, guess what? You got to move up. You're ready to move up to the bigger leagues.
Yeah.
And I think DaVinci is the biggest league you can get without
No,
buying
yeah,
actual software.
definitely. Because I was using like Adobe Premiere Rush, and that was more made for like mobile phones, and
Yeah.
so it was like Movie Maker, but it was a little bit more advanced than Movie Maker. But
Sure.
I started outgrowing that, and so
The concepts of editing are there.
yeah,
So like, it's for sure. It's like, hey, You're like asking me like, hey, Tim, what's the best tricycle to ride? Well, I
Yeah.
ride a bicycle,
Yeah.
so it's hard to like judge what tricycles, right?
Yeah. So like
Um,
jumping in, when I started using DaVinci, it felt like jumping in the deep end of the pool. But I had some concepts of like using Premiere Pro
Sure.
and Premiere Rush, but
I mean, the
because
concepts are there.
I started
Knowing
growing.
Premiere Pro,
Yeah.
you'd be like, hey, it makes sense to line things
Yeah.
up, and the timeline
Yeah.
looks like a timeline.
Yeah.
It's just apples and oranges and the institutional knowledge of muscle memory,
Yeah.
right? Like it's going to the gym, it's exercising, it's editing, it's learning by doing. I think is the best part of this class is like you're forced to actually edit. So
like the other thing that DaVinci is starting to install now is that they have their cloud app, which if you're working with teams of people, you could just upload that footage on top of into the cloud. And so everyone who has access to the project file, they could download that
So
overall timeline.
here's my question about
Yeah.
DaVinci then. Is it like Final Cut or is it like Premiere in
Mixed.
its assets? So if I unplug that hard drive right now, will they still be in the project?
So it will be a broken chain. So I would have to relink everything.
So the media would be off.
Do you want me to unplug it and just show that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I'm just going to unplug it.
I
and
learned about this the hard way.
Sure.
So now you could
Oh,
see
look,
everything's
everything
corrupted.
went offline.
Yeah. So
It was there for a second though, and that's
Yeah.
all the renders, right?
Mhm.
Like the audio, the video renders,
Mhm.
like we can see it.
So if I start playing it, it's not going to play. So if I look for it, you just click that and it will, you have to give the linking again of where that project file is.
So the only way is to plug it back in and
Plug it in.
reconnect the media, just like in Premiere. So just know that's
Mm-hmm.
that's another big difference between Final Cut. Remember, Final Cut copies all your files into another folder locally so that those projects.
Does
stay
it
with
make a
that project.
proxy of it?
It makes a copy.
I think it could be a proxy. That's probably what it is. Because that would make sense why Grant's never had an issue. Yeah, so let's just locate and
Yeah, that's probably the case.
yeah. So it's already found it. Wait, did it find it?
Say it loud.
Oh shoot. I just hit don't loud.
There was a movie on Tubi that I seen recently, and like there was like a flash of media.
Oh really?
Yeah, hilarious.
And I was like, whoa, I've never seen that.
I have.
I think it was like the longer movie.
That's embarrassing.
Come on.
I actually went through that with the people still having that in the movie.
Why is it not going? Saying it's linked.
Does it have to think about it a little bit or?
Maybe. But again, like I might. Why is it? So was it here, Tim? It was this.
Yeah,
this.
it should be film noir. F.
Oh, there it is right there. Open. So I might have to just reopen it. That's
You might have
probably
to close it.
yeah.
Open it. Hey.
So again,
Oh,
like
software's
yeah,
so free software.
Yeah.
Nothing's,
no, it's yeah.
perfect,
So let's
right?
just move
Cool.
and then open it over here again.
There you go. It's back.
Yeah. So yeah, no, again, there's minor things, but
Yeah, I would have
it's
done that in Premiere too.
it-
Like, hey, again, that's a great lesson to learn too. If your software is acting funky,
just close it.
close it and restart your computer. That
Yeah.
solves 90% of
Yeah.
the issues I have
Yeah.
with something like I was editing and my mouse was like drifting. It was
Oh, really?
drifting slower than it should. And I'm like, the clicks are off by like a quarter of a second. I just restarted. It was a RAM issue with my computer.
Oh,
Like I
yeah.
just was, I I overtax my computer always,
Yeah.
right? Like it's like I want to do 8 things at the same time
Yeah.
because I have no patience. I'm gonna import and export at the same time, and then that's why I'm crashing. I told you I crashed Final Cut X, and I'll do it again. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say thank you, Jason. I really do appreciate this. Hey, stay up here for a second. Any other questions for Jason? And hey, thank you, Jason. We'll talk more about Da Vinci, but he for sure is the person. Yeah. Woo. All right. So we're gonna just stop the record for right now.